you follow sports or not, you have probably heard that with the victory last night in the college football playoffs, Penn State versus Notre Dame, with Notre Dame taking that victory in a really close game, good to watch, even though it cost me $5 to my son. But the head coach of Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, becomes the first black coach to compete in the college football championship game, which will happen here soon. And I see a lot of people online talking about how expressing frustration and irritation with all of this emphasis on his race and him being black. And it's like, can we just focus on sports? Why does everything have to be about race? And while there's a part of me that can semi agree with the fact that when the media has opportunities like this, they will overhype it and they will talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, relentlessly. But they do that with a lot of things, that you can go, man, why is everybody talking about the same thing and talking about it so much? However, I think what's more important here is really getting into the why. And I believe that the reason many people are frustrated by the conversation about his race is because conversations lead to curiosity and curiosity leads to questions. And I think what many people don't want is to really start to dig into the question of why, right? After 150 something years of college football championship games, why is this the first time that there's been a black head coach involved in that game? When you look at the numbers, about 50% of college football players are black. When you look at the Heisman Trophy winners for the last 50 years, approximately 65% of them have been black. But when you look at head coaches, it's only about 12% of college football head coaches who are black. And so in some ways, it's like working for an organization that says, man, 60% of our organization represents racial diversity, right? We've got a rich culture of different people from different racial backgrounds, and that sounds and looks amazing, and that number is true. But then you look at their leadership team, the executives, the vice presidents, the senior managers, and in that group, 90 to 95% of that group is white. And so, although 60% of the organization represents racial groups outside of white, 90% of the people that hold the power to influence the direction of the organization are white. 90% of the people that have the authority to influence the daily experience of other human beings and even decide whether or not people get to work at the organization or not are white. 90% of the people at the top of the pay scale, not only from a salary perspective, but when you add in bonuses and add in things like stock and equity, are white. So when that organization says, well, 60% of our population is non-white, yeah, but the people with the power, the authority, and the economic gain from the organization's success are white. Now, you can have a separate discussion about whether that's, what's the issue with white people having success? Well, I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but it does speak to a deeper issue of how numbers can sometimes be misleading, but when put together can kind of tell a different story. So with so many black young men putting their lives on the line as well as young white men, with so many black men earning the honor through their hard work and efforts to be voted as the best football player for that year across the entire country, But then to turn the spotlight to coaches, right? That's like the management. That's the people in authority. So not the workers, right? So you may have a lot of diversity within your working population, your operational staff. But when you start going up the food chain, going up the corporate ladder, if you will, and you start looking at the head coach and you go, wow, that's one heck of a disparity, right? So ask yourself about this in your own organization. If you have so much diversity amongst your frontline or operational staff, why do you have so little diversity in the positions with the power and the authority and the influence and the biggest economic gain from the success of the company? That's a question you have to ask yourself, but I think that is the real reason why a lot of people don't want to get into this topic.